Every body. Well, good morning. I see that Mark is there. We're always waiting on ladies, aren't we, Mark?
Where are the ladies?
I don't know, but it doesn't matter because we're.
Oh, that's Val.
Oh, that's fine. I'll do it.
Yeah, but she's not there. I don't see her. It's time.
It's time. I know.
Starting.
Thank you for the big cue.
There she is.
Good morning, Val. All right. As we get started today, on Sunday, fun day, we're going to bring our feet together right in the center part of our mats. We have room both front and back of the mat. You're going to take your ankles, you're going to turn them out so slightly. Now, that's compressed your big toes. Step your feet apart a little bit wider if you need to. It's just so we have an angling in of the big toes. Let's bring the legs nice and straight. And let's pull your butt backwards. And it's not to hip hinge, it's just simply to drift the body backwards. Try to grow the upper body nice and tall. So imagine that process happens by pulling in the belly button and then grabbing breastplate and then lifting up. And as you do so, I want you to be really active with those six-pack muscles. Let's draw the shoulders up and then open the arms face forward. Expand through the fingers nice and wide, and then use the back of the hands to draw the arms that are extending out all the way back. This is a nice stretch we should be experiencing right now as we keep this nice upper body orientation growing through the spine and also by lifting up with the shoulders. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, let's bring hands forward and up, palms are facing the sky. Let's bring the baby fingers together and try to, do the same with your forearms. Now, take a big inhale. As you exhale, let's push the fingers forward. Take another inhale, and as you exhale, let's fold the palms together and bring hands over heart. Let's draw the hips backwards and fold halfway forward. Now, as we maintain this halfway forward fold, I'd like you to take your legs and make them nice and straight. And then I use the analogy of chopsticks. So the same thing, I'd like you to pull the chopsticks together without bending through the knees. And then I'd like you to take your heels and try to rotate them externally. So your big toes might turn in a little more to each other, that's fine. As you inhale, extend the spine and unhinge for the hips. Push your hands all the way to the sky. Reach high and turn your toes to face forward. So we now have a slightly forward orientation in the toes. Take a big inhale as you exhale. Let the arms drift down so slowly, nice and controlled. Palms are facing you at this time as we sweep forward, bring the thumbs together. And as you inhale, let's use the baby fingers to draw back and bring the thumbs forward. As you inhale, rotate back the arms. And as you exhale, rotate them forward. Let's do that one more time. As you hold it back, lift the palms to the sky, and then sweep the arms to the sky. And then this time, pull the hips back, but bend the knees slightly. So now we're going to chopping through a couple joints here. The knees and the hips. Let's reach high, make those arms nice and long. Sweep them a little higher to the sky if you can. And as you exhale that breath of yours, fold it all the way down. Walk your hands forward and step your feet back into plank pose. Good morning, morning. Now I'm going to rock and roll forward and back a little bit, nice and slow. So I'd like you to push the toes as the body drifts forward. And then as you drift backwards, try to keep that torso nice and long. You're really driving the heels into the earth. Feel a nice release through the hamstring or lower leg. Push forward on the toes. Drift the hips backwards. Let's do it one more time. And this time as we drift backwards, I'd like you to pull your butt up and backwards to down dog. Up to the tippy toes. Heels drive to the earth. Do that a few more times. And when you're ready, load it back to your plank. Keep the toes tucked under, but lower down onto the knees. And then bring straightness back into the legs. Drift the heels towards the earth and pull your butt up and back to down dog. Oh, this feels like nice stretching. As you float it back to plank, toes remain tucked under, knees drop to the earth. Heels drive backwards as the legs straighten as you pull your butt up and back to down dog. We're going to go through this one more time. Nice and slowly. This awakening up the body stuff. Ah, so important. As we drift back this time, we're going to hold back in down dog. Take your left heel, drive it to the earth. Add to that your right heel, drive it to the earth. Push high on the tippy toes. Keep high on the right tippy toes. And then drive that left heel to the earth. Bend the right knee ever so slightly. And then we switch sides. So we're kind of stepping it out, left to right. And when you're ready, both heels drive back down, float it back to plank. Pull your hips up and back to down dog, and step or jump your feet forward. As you inhale, extend to a flat back. As you exhale, keep folded, but step your feet out to the sides of your mat. Take your toes and turn them into the center line of the mat. And bring some straightness to your legs. Straight out, right? Straighten them out. Now, weight there back to the heels. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold back down. As you keep the legs working, straighten out, chopsticks them. Give them some chopstick, pull them together, pull them together. And as you keep that pull, inhale, extend to a flat back. Keep the extension in the back, keep that chopstick action going as you grip the hips backwards. And then bring your palms onto the shins. Push the palms to the shins as you extend the spine. All right, now step feet or toes aim straight forward. Bend through the knees. Give me as much depth into this squat as you can. Keep the palms pushing the shins, but bring the spine into extension. And do the same thing with the neck. Pull it long. Now, from the hips, through the knees, down to the ankles, everything remains in the same angle. We're not changing that. We're going to take our hands and reach them forward. Now we're going to make a little alteration only through the hips as we try to upright the body by extending through the spine. Take a big inhale as you raise your arms. And as you exhale, bring the heels out as you stand tall. And then reach for the sky as you take the next breath in. And as you exhale, release that. Let the arms just drift down. Good morning, everybody. Now, pull the shoulders up to the ears. Open the palms to face forward. And try to pop out through the chest. So imagine your shoulders are pulling up and away from the body. Take your thumbs, corkscrew them in, and corkscrew them out. So we're just rotating the arms, keeping those elbows almost locked out, inward, outward, and then holding the thumbs rotating back, sweeping the arms back, feeling that nice expansion through the chest. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Inhale again, lift to the sky. Exhale, fold all the way down, and have a seat.
I like that.
I like that. That's a good part. Yeah, we just sit down and relax. Okay, cocktail hours. I should do my Judy Richmond impersonation. Talk time with Judy. Anyways, before we get completely sidetracked, I'd like you to bring your feet into a little bit of flexion and put your hands on top of the knee caps. And then I'd like you to find your sit bone. So if you're sitting on your tailbone, you'll feel that pressure right on the tailbone. I'd like you to try to roll up onto that pelvic girdle of yours so you can kind of feel a bonier connection from both sides as opposed to the center of your butt. Let's make the chest nice and proud. Beautiful. Now, as you make the chest proud, as you grow the spine, I'd like you to lean back and use the arms for assistance. This is going to assist with some of the load that our muscles through the hips and through our experience right now. If you want to amplify this, you can simply release the hands off the kneecaps. You should feel those hip flexors kind of kick in. We're going to add a little bit of upper body to this, and in particular, the upper spine, by raising the arms towards the sky. And if your hip flexors started to burn a little more, that's fine. I'd like you to find a nice elevation of the arms where you can tolerate the amount of work that I'm asking you to participate in right now. Take another breath, try to raise a little higher. And as you exhale that breath, bring hands over heart and Pilates style. Just C-curve the spine, come down onto the mat. Nice. Now, let's plant that left foot with the heel of that left foot close to your butt and take the right foot, bring it up and onto the left thigh. The foot, the right leg, let's flex it. And then without rolling or doing anything funky with your hip, I'd like you to try to externally rotate. So take the right knee and try to push it away from your body without use of the hands. I know sometimes people go, oh, I'm just going to help this along, but I want you to use the outside muscles of the legs to help facilitate that external rotation. And then bring the knee back in towards the center line and then rotate it back out. And then oscillate in and out a few times. Just warming up some of the smaller muscles of our hips, the lateral or outside. And then on the next breath, let's hold it there. Let's try to rotate out a little more. And then relax that and switch sides. As you plant the left foot, make sure it's flexed. Again, same exercise, opposite side. Try to rotate the left knee out and away from the body. And then you're going to draw it back in. I'd like you to try to maintain spinal stabilization as best you can. And that may be profoundly said, but what I really mean is I want to make sure you're not rolling off the hips. You want to keep that low back or hip sensation of skin of the hip in the event relatively felt. So you're not like feeling one side and the other side's lifted. I like you to keep both sides nice, connected to your mat. It's time to hold out, try to rotate a little more. And then as the knee pulls back in, set that left foot back down. Pull both knees up and into the chest. Bring your forehead up to meet the knees and rock and roll up to a seated position. And while you extend your legs all the way out, separate them about hip width apart. All right, now I'm going to adjust my junk in my trunk there so I have a nice bony connection to that mat. I'm working on my spinal extension right now. I'm imagining there's a string on the top of my head pulling along everything, that spinal column of mine. I'm going to put my hands down by my hips. Right now, my fingers are aiming forward, but I'd like you to rotate so your fingers aim away from the side of the body. And then I'd like you to bring some straightness to your elbows. And as you lift the shoulders, I'd like you to keep the palms on the earth. And if we lift high, we feel that nice activation, hopefully, in that upper body. Hollow out your tummy. And now while you keep the arms straight, I'd like you to push the palms into the mat and expand through the chest. Imagine your shoulders are kind of opening up. Feel that nice extension. And then as you release the next breath, let everything relax. Bring your hands back over heart and Pilates style, dropping the chin into the chest, lower down one vertebrae at a time. And when you arrive there, let's take the arms above the head and aim the toes away. Opposite side, we're stretching, we're pulling two different ends, string per se. Toes pulling one direction, fingertips the opposite. Make it nice and long, and then hollow out that, pull that belly button in towards your spine. And then keep the belly button pulling into the spine as you step your feet back in towards your hips and bring your hands back up over your shoulders. Now, pelvic rocking. So if I rock the pelvis forward, I can feel pronounced pressure in my tailbone. I like you to rock the hips backwards so you can feel more skin of the low back connected to your mat. And then as you kind of reach the point where you feel you've got optimal touching, that skin, of course, just feeling nice and connected to the mat. I like you to take your belly button and hollow it up. Nice. Now, let's drop the chin into the chest. Let's bring the palms back together. And then try to peel each vertebrae up off the mat. And if you can, aim your hands right between your knees. So we got a crunch-like position.
Oh, just crunch?
We're just crunching.
Hmm.
And then try to reach a little higher. And then we'll reach a little higher. And then peel, or sorry, reverse peel. Imprint each and every vertebrae of the upper back all the way up to the back of the head. And then reach those arms all the way back. And then come back for repetition number 2. Dropping the arms down, reaching the arms forward, dropping the chin into the chest, and each vertebrae peels up till you feel like the middle part of the back nicely connected to your mat. Try to pull through a little more, and then imprint each vertebrae on the way back down as you reach backwards to get nice elongation. And then last time up, palms together, chin drops to chest. We're aiming the palms up and in between the knees. We got a nice crunch going here. I'm going to pulse just a little bit. Up, more, back, up, more. Inches forward and back. And then we're going to hold up and then sweep the arms towards the sky, straight up. And then try to lift a little higher, and then relax everything down. And then extend the arms all the way back. And do the same with the legs as you extend them all the way out. A nice stretch through all the anterior front body muscles. Let the head roll from side to side. A lot of connective muscle activating there. Sometimes we get neck compression. If you do, you have to teach yourself to relax that a little bit. Let's bring the hands back up over the chest. As you separate the feet about hip width apart. Let's do a Pilates style up one vertebrae at a time. That might seem a little more challenging than it normally does because we were using those 6-pack muscles. Let's dive it down. Hands diving between the feet, extending through, giving that nice lengthening through the low back. Feel your hamstrings. Get those hands going. Saying, oh yeah, thanks for thinking of me. Now as you inhale, extend to a flat back. Let's drag the fingertips along the earth. I'm going to step my hands on the outside of my legs. As I bring my palms to the earth with my fingers rotating to the outside of the body, I'm going to bring some straightness back to my spinal column and my neck, also through my arms. And then I'm going to push my palms into the earth. And as I do that, I want you to try to externally or backwardly rotate the shoulders. So pull them out and away from the body and pull them backwards. Grow the spine nice and long, push the palms a little more so you can get your little booty up off the earth. Nice. Now, while you hold on this, we're going to take the knees and bend them so our butt is able to lift off the mat. And then we're going to lower back down and raise back up as we lower as we lower and raise, because we are going to rowing. I like you to keep the spine braced. So we're not flexing or tucking under the hips. We have a nice long neutral spine. It's braced at your abs and other abdominal muscles, securing that, raising and lowering. And this time as we hold up, I like you to just take your feet and step them all the way forward if you can. If it's there, if it's accessible, great. And if it's not, chill out and don't do it. Just go back to what, revert back to what works. Now, push the hips high to the sky and then gently lower them down. Release the arms, cycle them forward. Dive the fingers down in between. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, extend the spine and come up into staff pose. As you bring hands over heart, let's make the shoulders a focus here. I'd like you to kind of pull them away from the center line of the body. As you hold open, as you pull hard those shoulders, let's make sure we have a tension-free neck and we have nice extension through that whole spinal column. Take a couple breaths, and when you're ready, we're going to take it back down to the earth, all about the tummy, and then one vertebrae at a time. Roll it down. Faster than I wanted to go, but that's the way it is today. Now let's take the legs and extend them up and into the air. So this exercise is a good awareness too of how your pelvis can feel. So if you sweep the legs down or forward, then almost instantly you can feel your tailbone receiving a lot of the body's weight or pressure. And then if you keep the legs straight and hip flex, but leading the legs backwards, you can feel the low back kind of connect with the mat. And I'd like you to make that connection. And if you hold on that, reach your hands up towards your toes. And then much like we were practicing earlier with that flexion through the spine, crunching, we're going to do the same thing. So I'd like you to kind of peel each vertebrae of your spine up off the mat and try to get your fingertips to touch the toes. And if you can easily do that, try to reach beyond and then lower back down and raise back up. So you might notice now that we've been doing a lot of work on our rectus abdominis, that six-pack muscle. Getting a lot of effort put into it, oscillating between the high and resting spot, not resting for too long, just taking a break and then re-engaging all that muscle as you reach up, then hold up this time. Try to reach a little higher, and then relax the legs, extend them out. Do the same with your arms. Feel that nice lengthening as 2 points pull away from center. And then when you're ready, bring the arms back down and then roll onto your tummy. We're going to do a nice little hip opening stretch. As we roll onto the tummy, I'd like you to come up onto your forearms. So we have pelvic girdle kind of resting on the mat. Right now, I've kind of tucked my toes under. So I'm going to keep my left leg straight, but I'm going to take my right knee and I'm going to sweep it up the side of my body. As best you can, I'd like to keep the right foot in flexion. And as best you can, I'd like you to bring that right knee as high as possible. And for me, and this may be your situation or not, I can feel the right outside of my hip instantly being active. And that's kind of what I'm asking you to feel. Now, we're going to work this by taking that forearm stance. And we're going to try to use our left hand and come up onto it by making the arm straight. And then taking the right arm and kind of threading it through, just like you would thread the eye of a needle. And the right shoulder rotate towards the earth. And if you can kind of set it down. And many people go crazy when we start to do this stretch. And it's because there's a lot of things going on. And if you've ever wondered about the interconnectivity of a lot of the muscles in your body, stretches like this, they kind of bring that awareness to you. So take a couple of breaths, realizing the benefit of this is not necessarily felt by what you're experiencing right now, but as we lengthen out some of these muscles we're stretching right now, it helps the hips and the muscles thereof to function a little better. Have I talked it to death enough? All right, come back out of the stretch. And then take that right leg and shoot it backwards. We're back into our prone facing forearm supporting position as we bring the left knee up. Again, how high it comes up is all relative to the mobility that you have today. So find your spot Make sure your left foot is flexed, it's not pointing. Make sure the hips are relatively square. I mean, they're not going to be perfect because that left hip should be lifted from the earth. Take the right hand and up onto it, and then thread the left arm through and under the right arm, and see if you can lower the left shoulder towards the earth. This is a great stretch for a lot of people for many different reasons. It kind of helps to reverse a lot of our sedentary behaviors in the muscle that get shortened when we sit for long periods of time. And this is a stretch you can do anytime during the day. Just introducing it to our practice today. Although I do this for a long time. It's more of an advanced stretch. It takes a lot of practice to get into it and kind of get the benefit of it. Now let's come back up, recenter the body. And I'm going to switch around so it's more visible to you. But we're going to keep in our low plank-like position. And we're going to begin to work on our abdominal muscles again. So in this plank-like position, low plank, it's kind of like a cobra, if you will. I like you to take your elbows and step them forward. And if possible, have them aligned under the shoulders. And a more advanced version of this is to have the elbows slightly forward of the shoulders. Now, in many cases, when we get into positions, our head likes to fall off our body. I imagine myself pulling my neck long. Perhaps a strategy for you to try as we keep that neck and upper back lengthening. I like to make sure that the toes of your body are tucked under. And what I'm going to ask you to do now is a system of movements. It's a practice of a movement here. So I'd like you to hollow out the belly and pull it up and into the spine. And as you keep that activation of muscle, I'd like you to lift the hips to the sky, come up onto the knees. So forearms and knees. I also call this 8-point plank. I'm going to hold on this for a few seconds and then lower back down. Now, you can reposition where your forearms are, forward or back. If you've got enough of a work effort when that last one took place, keep it there. If it was too much, you can pull the elbows a little closer to the body, and otherwise, if it wasn't enough, you can step them a little farther away. Hollow out the belly. Keep that belly hollowing out, and then lift the hips upwards. Now, as you lift upwards, a lot of times people like to throw their tailbone up. I like you to keep that low back nice and stable. That's why we've activated, and I ask you to keep active that six-pack muscle, that hollowing out of the belly. Let's lower back down, extend everything back out, reposition our arms now. Third time's the charm. We're going to go back into this exercise one last time, hollowing out the belly, keeping it hollow as I elevate the hips, as I hold up, and continuing to breathe, continuing to find length of the spine, continuing to crowd out the chest, continuing to hold on, and then I'm going to lower down and then relax all the way to the mat. I'm going to roll onto the backside because it's easier for me to talk into the microphone, but if you want to just lie down, face forward, perfect. And then when you're ready, roll it onto your backside and take that nice breath in. Take the legs all the way out and extend the arms all the way out. Now, I'd like you to pull your belly button towards the sky. And I'd like you to take both legs up off the earth and then draw the knees up into the chest and feel how the weight changes from the tailbone onto that low back. Find that experience for you. And then grab your hands on the kneecaps and just rock and roll just slightly, just inches, literally forward and back. And then hold that and then left to right. So it's just like a little massage, a little articulation of those joints of the low back. And then relax that. Put the feet back down on the earth. Separate them about hip width apart. Hands aim up at the sky. Palms push together as arms maintain a nice straight profile. Drop your chin into your neck, your chin into your chest, and peel up one vertebrae at a time, all the way up. Oh, that's a big effort for me. And then when we arrive there, take your left leg and drop it onto the floor. Now, if you can, I'd like you to aim your left leg straight forward so that the orientation is more aiming towards the front of your mat. It's a little awkward, but a little space here. Your right leg is going to sweep backwards. And what I'm going to ask you to try to find is two 90-degree angles in your knees. So the right knee and back knee have a 90-90. This is like a 90-90 stretch. Now, not 1990, but just 99. Now, if you work to square your upper body, and sometimes if we've got bad knees, I can always recommend doing, towel under it, and certainly it's an option for you to do. And then while you've got this orientation of 99, I'd like you to fold forward over that front leg. Come down as far as your body will comfortably allow you to do so. This is not a fighting stretch type of position. It's kind of acceptance of where I am today and kind of getting as much out of it. Now, as you rise up, I'd like you to kind of rise up and roll back to the point where it's so uncomfortable, I just can't go there. When you get there, don't go there. You know you've gone far enough when you get that sensation like, this is going to get worse if I go any farther. That's where you are. Hold on that for another breath, and then fold back down again. So work the spinal extension, work the neck extension, all that good stuff as you oscillate between the 2 points. We're going to come back up and then drift back till we get the moment. And then one more time, we're going to fold back down. We're going to work the spinal extension. And then we're going to come back up. We're going to take that right knee, flip it up towards the sky, and we're going to just roll over our bodies per se and get into the same thing opposite side. Making sure you've got your 90-90. And then instead of leaning off to the side, I'd like you to try to be as upright as possible. And then as possible is really the operative, right? Now, keeping this nice upper body extension, I'm going to fold over the front leg. And you may notice that your body and the tightness is different from side to side. For me, this is a tighter side, so I'm going to rise back up to the point where it goes, aha, aha, and then fold back down. And rise back up. And then fold back down. Kirsten's going, this is so good. It feels so good. Very therapeutic. You always have to find progression. As we come back up, let's unfold it all. And I'm going to turn myself around to face you beautiful people on the screen there. Extend my legs all the way out. And I have my own little beauty beside me too. And then we're going to have the legs separated about hip width apart. Take a big breath in. The staff pose should feel a little differently now. We've worked really hard on opening those hips apart, so that's such an amazing thing. Now, as you exhale, try to grow the spine long. As you inhale, try to grow the spine a little longer, and then fold forward as you inhale and lengthen the spine. You'll find that your body may not respond the same way in terms of how close to the earth you can get. So this is a function of our hamstrings and also our gluteals. Now, take another breath in, and you should release this breath. Let your spine go into flexion. Let it just relax. See how far down you can get. And again, stretching and forcing stretch, different consequences with it. You just have to know your body to know when it's available to be pushed and when that pushing is going to create little mayhem. So just self-govern. . This time as you inhale, extend your flat back, unhinge through the body. Bring the knees, bend through the knees. And then this is no graceful way to get up, but I'd like you to try to push with your hands onto it. Now I have a technique I can't really do as well as I used to in December. And folding forward now, but let the upper body just hang out. Get that low back, nice and relaxed, all the way up to the spinal column, including the head. I'm just going to dangle a little bit. And I'd like you to rock and roll forward to back. And then I'd like you to pull back. So if you were to evaluate how much pressure is felt on your foot, the evaluation would show that the majority of pressure is felt back in the shoulder. As you keep that pressure, as you inhale, extend to a flat back, just make sure your toes are in straight forward. And as you keep the extension in the back, let's bend both knees and let the knees push forward to the toes. So you feel a nice stretch or lengthening to the calf muscles. Yeah. So let's hold on this for a couple seconds. I'm going to bring my forearms up and onto my thighs, just so I have a little more workload going in, a more lengthening opportunity for my calves. If that's too much for you, you can simply offset some of that work. Hands on the earth. And then I'm going to push my hips high to the sky and let my upper body just fold down. As I inhale, I'm going to extend to a flat back. As I fold back down, I exhale. And this time as I inhale, I'm going to unhinge all the way back up to standing. Arm is going to sweep to the sky. Beautiful. Take your big inhale. As you exhale, bring hands over heart. Nice. Now, just so we have a little bit of work.
Balance.
Let's take that. What do you mean balance? We have balance. Let's take that left knee, we'll raise it up and into the air. And I'd like you to give me a little bit of extra effort. Try to get a little higher. Nice. Now, that just threw me off a little bit. And then lower left, switch for right. And a little bit of extra effort. And then switch sides. And a little bit of extra effort. And then do this a couple more times on each side. Nice and slow, nice and controlled. Nice and long for that standing leg. Nice and balanced for the upper body. And then everyone meet feet down, separate them out with the mats. Toes are going to step into the center line of the body. We're going to keep the legs nice and long as we grip the butt back. We're going to chop through the hips slightly. So we have a slight forward fold. As we engage our six-pack muscle, the one we were working so much on today, I'd like you to keep that nice and strong as you extend the arms forward. As you inhale, I'd like you to raise the arms. And as you exhale, I'd like you to lower. And I'd like you to continue to do that for a few more breaths. Imagine the spine growing long. If you're compressing through the neck, it's generally because you're trying to compensate the movement. So accept the movement pattern today, but keep that neck of yours decompressed. Let's lower the arms all the way down this time and open the thumbs, spiral them backwards, reach the arms long like you're trying to grab something behind you. Take a big breath, inhale, sweep the hands forward all the way up. Sweep them down and back. Reach for something behind you. Reach for something above your head. And do that a few more times. On this next one, hold up, hold up, hold up. Now hold on this, make the legs straight. Take the legs and chopstick them together. It's pull together, pull the butt back, reach high to the sky. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, bring hands over heart, come up to a standing position. There you go, nice. I'm stepping my feet nice and close together. Take a big breath in, hands push to the sky. Reach high, 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 and then relax the arms. Draw the shoulders up, open the palms to face forward. Separate the fingers widely. Use the arms nice straight length as you pull them backwards. Try to raise the shoulders as the arms pull backwards. Nice. Now, we're going to do a few corkscrew exercises here. We're going to rotate the thumbs in, and then rotate them out, and then rotate them in, and then rotate them out. Do that one more time. As you rotate out this time, keep the legs straight. Take your heels, try to push them away from the center line of the body and fold a little forward. As you bring the arms forward, up, shoulder height. Corkscrew, in and out. In and out. Keep going. Now, push from the heels. Try to push the heels out. Keep the legs nice and straight. Roll those arms in, roll them out. Hold out, palms facing. Raise those arms to the sky, hollow out the belly. Take a big breath in, exhale it, stand tall. Step the feet to face forward. Release the arms as you fold down. Take it down onto the mat and have a seat. Have a seat is such a welcoming and comforting thing. And in this case, it actually is. Other times, earlier in the class when we say have a seat, it's just an invitation to work hard on the mat. All right, so now that we're down and we're seated, I'd like you to bring some stable element to sit upon your sit bones. I want to make sure you're not back on that tailbone of yours. Take a big breath in, get nice and tall through the upper body. As you exhale, extend the arms forward. As you inhale, grow everything, including raising the arms to the sky. And then let's bring hands over heart and gently, one vertebrae at a time. Come all the way down. Let's keep the legs mostly extended. Let's take the thighs and turn them into touch. Your big toes want to come along and join the party. Invite them to do so. Now, just like a hinge, I'm going to ask you to get a hinge on the heel. So there's a pretty good bend, a little greater than 90 degrees in your knee. And if it's not, you can step the feet out to get that. And I'm going to ask you to roll in and roll out. Yep. And then this time, we're going to roll toes, aiming up at the sky. That left foot is going to step in. We're going to take the right leg and wrap it on top of the left. Try to keep the knees as close together as possible. In other words, if you can keep the legs touching all the way through, that's fine. And if you can't, give me your best version of it. As you roll towards the right side, you're really pulling that with the right leg. And you're really pulling the left leg down to the left side of the body. You're going to add in the upper body by taking that left arm and raising them up to the sky. And then reaching backwards. So for years, I've been doing this stretch. This is kind of like a less intense version of what we did earlier in class. And we've kind of graduated to the other one. Just the question, well, why didn't we graduate sooner? Just kind of did it. So it's a nice compliment. So this would be a good beginning opening, and then the one we did earlier when you pull your knee up, rotate your shoulder, and the same kind of concept. It's a nice lengthening stretch. Let's bring it back up, switch up sides, and no balance suit, just long stretching. Left leg rolls towards the left side, pulling that right leg down, getting that nice side body lengthening going on in that right hip. Mine feels so good. I'm going to bring the upper body into play here, extending the right arm up into the sky and then reaching it backwards. The effectiveness of this upper body stuff is really predicated on how you reach that right arm. And as you reach back farther, as you try to lengthen more, you get more out of the stretch. And then let's bring this all the way back up. Pull your knees up and into your chest. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees and rock and roll from front to back. And come up into a seated position. I'm going to cross my legs to my preference. Please do the same for you. Take a big breath in and bring hands over heart. Let's drop the chin down into the chest. And then make everything nice and long. Spinal column wise. Fill up that air. And as you exhale, let me say to you, namaste.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. We got it done.
Hello, kids.
Yeah.